The United stand. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer still faces a big, massive dilemma. How do you solve a problem like Alexis Sanchez? We'll be talking about that, getting your views, obviously. I mean, I must just say, first of all, there's two things I would say about Sanchez. We're going to be going through this debrief from the Leicester game as well, because I think it highlights something many of us on the United stand have been aware about for a long time. There's two things about Alexis Sanchez. One, there seems to be, you say something bad about Sanchez, and there seems to be this odd thing that I just do not get. There is a sort of cult with an L, not an N, section of our fan base that just seems to want to stick up for Alexis Sanchez no matter what. Now, instantly people would say, well, weren't you the same with Martial? But Martial had a history at Manchester United and Mourinho ruined it. Martial, we saw his talent in a Manchester United shirt and Mourinho blew it. Martial's in his early 20s and we know he's got development in him, and Mourinho blew it. And now we're getting the real Martial. So I could understand why there was always this thing about Martial with the fan base. But Sanchez I don't get. Because you're a Manchester United fan first and foremost. What has Sanchez ever done in a United shirt? He doesn't deserve the loyalty that some of you people quite impressively give him. Oh, stop picking on Sanchez. No. He's been here over a year. He's done nothing at the club. That's one thing. I think it's amazing that we still have people that just love him no matter what, despite his consistent shitness in a United shirt. And then the second thing is always the thing that I bring up a lot. That he is the best paid player in the Premier League. Facts. He's the best paid player in the Premier League. And if you are lowering your standards so much, these Sanchez fanboys and girls now, you are lowering your standards so much that he does a 5-yard pass and you're like, oh, he's worth it. He's the best paid player in the Premier League. You need to get your levels up and understand what you're meant to get for the best paid player in the league. You're meant to get a Mo Salah. You're meant to get an Eden Hazard. You're meant to get a Kevin De Bruyne. You're not meant to get a B-Tech Chilean Mark Albrighton. And actually, Mark Albrighton's better than Sanchez. I could do so many jokes in this first few minutes about what Sanchez is. He's not even on the levels of Juan Mata. He's absolutely appalling. But I think that more important, I want to talk about it a little bit, is how do you sell it? How do you sell somebody who's the best paid player in the Premier League when he's performing so badly? I mean, Ollie may only be here till May. Hopefully he'll be here longer. But whatever happens, and he's done some great things already, whatever happens, how does he solve a problem like Sanchez? So we'll be talking about that. Shavan Tabani says, I'd sell Sanchez in the summer. Clearly he affects our players on the pitch also. Sell him and get a centre-back and a right-back. He's been poor. Thanks for that contribution. And I think that, look, when I look at the game yesterday, Gary Lineker doesn't speak much sense, but he did feel that Leicester deserved something from the game. Did Leicester deserve anything from the game yesterday? No. Should they have got something from the game? Yes. They had the possession, they had the chances, they didn't take them, we did, we deserved the 3 points, and it was a very, very good 3 points. I've seen some United fans talking about it being a little bit, oh, we were lucky. I don't really care. It's 3 points for Manchester United, and that's what it's all about. China's the place for him to go, Sanchez, I think. But how do we solve it? And two, what is the problem? We've spoken about it a lot on the United stand with Alexis Sanchez. And the issue, as we all know, is that when Alexis Sanchez plays there, because why can't Alexis Sanchez play here? Why can't he cover these areas here? Why can't he play there? Is it in his contract? I find it really weird. Because as the person said there, and as we said before, the problem Ollie's got at Manchester United is that he only plays on the left-hand side. But it's not, the Sanchez is quite a unique player in the fact that, yes, he plays badly, but lots of players have played badly. We've seen loads of players play badly. I thought Lingard played badly yesterday, and we like Lingard. And a bad game isn't a bad thing. Obviously, it's frustrating because it can impact on a result, but Pogba's going to have a bad game. Martial and Rashford will have bad games because they're still developing. Pogba will have a bad game because it's not FIFA. It's not a computer game. It's real life, and you will have a bad game. A bad game is fine. Sanchez has too many bad games, but on top of that, he's got this unique thing where he impacts everybody else around him. And the reason he does that is because when when Martial plays, he just runs up and down there, and that's fine because obviously we know what Pogba can do coming forward. When Sanchez plays, he does this. He doesn't occupy there hardly ever. He wants to play here. And it messes everything up. Absolutely everything. Because then you've got the situation where Paul Pogba cannot go into that yellow area because Alexis Sanchez is occupying it. So Pogba ends up in these areas where you don't really want Pogba. You want Pogba in here. Well, we can't see him because Alexis is there, but that's where you want Pogba. Let me just delete the yellow pen for a minute. So yeah, what we want to see is Paul Pogba here. And we saw Paul Pogba here when Anthony Martial came on the left-hand side, because Anthony Martial will occupy the left-hand side. But Pogba cannot play there because Alexis Sanchez is there as well. So Pogba disappears. Pogba has to become the CDM. Funnily enough, the goal against Leicester came from the fact that Sanchez actually was on the left pressing. The ball breaks to Pogba in that position, who plays Rashford, and it's 1-0. But that was few and far between. It hardly ever happened because Alexis Sanchez kept coming here, and that meant that Paul Pogba, if I can find him, because he's missing, had to stay deep. And that's not the best. That's not the best thing for the situation for Manchester United. Of course, what we saw then when Alexis Sanchez came off is we saw Martial occupying that area and then Paul Pogba operating here. And within about 5 minutes of Anthony Martial coming on, we had Paul Pogba getting forward. And people are saying in the live comments he did go wide. Look, of course, if you're on the pitch for like an hour and you're a left-sided player, you are going to go left. But he didn't go left anywhere near enough. He occupies the space of Pogba, and Pogba gets ruined by that. But it isn't just Pogba. It's also Luke Shaw. Because Luke Shaw would get to here, and then he'd have a dead... We didn't have Martial with him, so let's move Martial. So Luke Shaw was hitting this area, and then Sanchez is nowhere. Sanchez is nowhere in front of him, so he's got no 1-2 he can play. He's got no overlap he can play. So Shaw just becomes a bit dead as a player, really, because he can't get into these areas to whip the crosses in. He basically has to stop there because you're not going to... Luke Shaw can't skip past 2 or 3 players. He needs to play the triangles. He needs to play the triangles with people like... give and go with Pogba, or more importantly, he needs his left-sided player who can hold it up and then he makes the run over and then he can put the cross into there. So that's redundant. So Pogba and Shaw are impacted by Sanchez and his need to play in this area. But then also yesterday, quite interestingly, I just want to bring Lingard in because Lingard had a bad game. Jesse Lingard ended up over here a hell of a lot. And then Sanchez ended up in here a lot as well. It was very, very confused, the Manchester United performance yesterday. And what that ultimately led to is, if we go back to Luke Shaw, I'm not going to put Ashley Young in there because he was a bit like the invisible man. But what Leicester did very well is get down the right-hand side. And they basically had 2 lines of attack because they had Gray and Barnes who were switching, but they had Chilwell on the overlap. And the amount of times they were getting into these areas against Ashley Young was just ridiculous. But Ashley Young had a bad game yesterday. They tried to do it down the right-hand side and they still had Pereira as the right back, and then they had Barnes or Gray, who was ever on that side. Luke Shaw did a better defensive job than Ashley Young. But in fairness, Sanchez and Lingard were so confusing in what they were doing in that first half that our fullbacks were getting exposed. But to cut a story long and short, Alexis Sanchez, there he is. Not enough of this. Not enough of backward and forward, not enough of that. More of this. I'm going to run around here because this is where I want to be. And then that, as we know, destroys this man because he can't go further forward. So that was the problem with Manchester United yesterday. Yes, we had a bad performance from Alexis Sanchez, but that meant that Pogba was stifled, Luke Shaw couldn't get forward, Lingard ended up wandering over, we lost our natural width, Rashford lost supply, we didn't create many chances. So Alexis Sanchez had a bad game, but it impacts on everybody else. And we've been speaking about this for a year now. We've been talking about this for a year now. Now, for me, the way to solve Alexis Sanchez, and I don't know how everybody else would feel about this, because some people would say just kick him out of the club. But I actually think that it's about discipline. Is he actually ignoring what he's being told to do by Jose Mourinho? I'd ignore him. By Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Because actually, Ashley Young, as we know, terrible. But Alexis Sanchez is a hard worker. And if you could just get him to furrow that there, just go back and forth, and help Shaw, I think he'd be very, very good at it. And more importantly, Ander Herrera, who operates in this space back and forth, Ander Herrera doesn't want to go in there. Alexis Sanchez wants to go there, right, when he plays off the left side, which he seems to insist to. But that's where Pogba wants to go, and it ruins Pogba's game. But if you played Sanchez on the right, I think he'd be a very good foil for Ashley Young because he can track back. But also, he would have license to get into that area there that he likes to do off the left because Herrera doesn't occupy that space. So to me, it's baffling on 2 levels. You've got Alexis Sanchez. When we play him on the left-hand side, he destroys Shaw and Pogba's game because of where he wants to come inside, and that stops Shaw getting forward and it stops Pogba getting forward. But if you put him on the right-hand side, He can help Ashley Young, but he can also come inside here because Pogba doesn't want to go there. Pogba wants to go there. Herrera's not going to go there. So it just seems to me that the obvious thing is, and the reason I won't give up on Alexis Sanchez is that why can't we just play him on the right-hand side? Martial, Pogba, Shaw, they've got a good understanding. That's the left-hand side. Rashford's the striker. That's sorted. Play Alexis Sanchez on the right-hand side. To me, it's the most obvious thing to do, but I do concern myself. Is there something in his contract? Because it just makes absolutely no sense. Matthew West says if he was on the right side, he wouldn't be able to cut in as he doesn't have a left foot. Well, good. I tell you what, you've made a good point there, Matthew. I am sick to the back teeth of Alexis Sanchez. We're on the break. He gets it here. He stops, turns back, passes it there. I mean, he gave the ball away to Leicester in that situation and they had a break on in the second half. I don't want him cutting back. It slows us down. We want to go this way. And I'm a massive fan of the natural cross. If he's on the right-hand side, it's a great point, Matthew West. And maybe you're talking about it as a positive thing. I don't want him to cut back. That's Mourinho and Van Gaal football. That's slow it down. Get down there and use your natural right foot. Actually putting him on the right side will stop him cutting back and force him to play forward. But there's another thing I would say about Alexis Sanchez. You've got to try him on the right-hand side or we've got to get him out of the club. He cannot play off the left. Even if Martial was injured, it's not about playing Martial over Sanchez. It's the fact that Sanchez is just a bad player off the left and he affects everybody else and he destroys Pogba and Luke Shaw's game. We've got to play him off the right-hand side. But we were talking about this yesterday and it's a very, very good point about Sanchez. Look at how he's done well in his past. He's played for Arsenal, he's played for Barcelona. Forget Udinese. So at Barcelona and Arsenal, they play a similar standard of football, although Arsenal's is a B-Tech version of Barcelona. But effectively, Arsenal for years have tried to play football like Barcelona. Barcelona's football's not fast-paced. They can move the ball quickly, but it's not fast-paced football. It's not on-the-break football. It's build-up play. It's clever movement of the ball. It's triangles. It's not progressive in the way that maybe United want to play, which is move the ball very fast and stretch teams and the way Liverpool play. It's more like Man City. And it can look very quick, but effectively it's about being patient on the ball, looking back, cutting inside, playing a pass and move and everything like that. Sanchez, I don't think suits United because we're not that team. We're not a patient build-up team. We like to do things quicker. So maybe that's something. Let's tie Sanchez to left-hand side corner flag, says Jacob Ramos. I don't know how we're going to solve the issue of Alexis Sanchez. I think he's been over here a year now at Manchester United. He's been there a year now. He's not put in one good performance and he must have been... How many games has he played? He affects everybody else around him. He looks nothing like the player he was at Arsenal anyway, so you've got to factor in that there may be a decline there. Obviously, I think he's over 30 now. He's the best paid player in the Premier League, and I'll keep coming back to that because he should be the best player in our team, and he's nowhere near it. He's not even in the team, is he, to be honest? So how do you solve a problem like that? I don't think for 1 minute Ollie will be concerned with getting rid of him. I just wonder if there is any legs in giving him that right-hand side. I don't know. Ollie will sort him out, says Webman, but that's just a blasé comment as far as I'm concerned, and I don't mean to be rude. I want more than that. How do you sort it out? Ollie's going to sort him out. Well, where's he going to sort him out? He only ever plays off the left. And if we're going to try and sort him out and put him on the left, that's Martial's position, it's Pogba's ability to move forward, and it's Luke Shaw's overlap. Sanchez would destroy all that. Martial would be on the bench, Pogba wouldn't be impactive, and Shaw wouldn't be able to overlap. So Sanchez cannot play off the left, but it's the only position he's ever been picked in. He never plays up front, and he never plays off the right. So how do you solve it? Ollie's been here 7 weeks. He's done miracles, but he's never once tried Sanchez off the right. Is it in his contract that he's not allowed to play on the right? I don't know. There's something very, very weird. But for me, the last chance saloon with Sanchez is the right-hand side. And if we do it, then maybe something can happen. If we don't, then it is a problem. I mean, you look at that game Leicester yesterday. If you played that game 10 times, we wouldn't have won it 10 times. It might have had a few draws, we might have had a few losses, we might have had a couple of wins. We got the win. It was about the 3 points. But if you look at what went wrong for United yesterday, it starts and ends with Alexis Sanchez. You know, Pogba wasn't in the game enough in the first half until Martial came on in the second half, apart from the goal. Shaw didn't get forward enough and didn't get the support. Ashley Young didn't get the support from Lingard because Lingard was wandering into weird positions. It felt to me yesterday, like Ollie said to the front three, yeah, just interchange and do your bits. And it didn't work because Sanchez should never be allowed to be wandering inside and ruining Pogba's game. It was a fantastic 3 points, but Leicester had more chances than us. I think they had more possession than us, and they had more of the ball than us. And we could have put in a much better performance. I didn't really slate the performance because actually winning when you don't play that well is really important if you want to be successful. But when you look at where it went wrong yesterday, a lot went wrong, and we all want to be in the Ollie army. We're all in Ollie's army, but actually, I think tactically and performance-wise, Leicester were probably better than us yesterday, but we got the result. So you must look at how and why. It won't be lost on Ollie because he's a very, very, very good manager and a very, very good tactical manager as well. He'll know exactly the things we've just spoken about there because he's got he's got far more experience than any of us. But Sanchez was where it went wrong for me yesterday because it just ruined the whole team. And that's the thing. He's a very unique player. He has a lot of bad games, but he also has a lot of games where he affects other people as well. Kieran McCrory says, I want to talk about Matic before we talk about Lukaku as well, because tactically I think that's quite important. Let's just remove Luke Shaw and Pogba and everyone for a moment so we can just go into this phase of play as well. We don't need to see Alexis Sanchez anymore, and hopefully we won't see him for a few weeks. So let's have a look at Matic. So Matic, divided opinion a little bit yesterday. I mean, I think everyone knows that Ashley Young was absolutely atrocious. He is a problem. Ashley Young is a problem. We need to solve that problem. Personally, I don't know what you think. Smash a like on the video if you would play Dalot. I think you can always hide behind the fact that Dalot is inexperienced. He needs to build that experience up. He needs games. He's not quite ready, blah, blah, blah. But actually, at what point do you go, well, yeah, Dalot's going to make mistakes, but is he going to put in performances like Ashley Young is at the moment? We've played Burnley at home and Leicester away, and he's been absolutely atrocious. Why has he got the captain's armband? Remove that from him. But also, he's just a very, very bad player. So I would be looking at Dalot. But let's talk about Matic. And also, Wan, I'm going to talk about Chong and Greenwood in a minute because this really frustrates me, actually. I trust Dalot as our first right-back. He plays confidently, says Hardwick. Right, let's talk about Matic. What did you think about Matic yesterday? Because a lot of people said that Matic played badly. Some people, are like, well, you don't understand. Anybody who understands football knows Matic played well yesterday. B-Tech nicking of things people used to say about Carrick for years. Matic isn't fit to lace Carrick's boots for a start, right? Okay? But Matic actually, I think, played well yesterday. I would go on the side of the people who said he played well. But the people who said he didn't play well are right as well. Thanks for the contribution, Gustav Mellon. And the Francie Brady says Sanchez and Mata cause the same issue when they play, cut in and reduce options. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And Mata sort of fits into what I'm going to talk about Matic here. Matic under Ollie has been revolutionised. He's playing fantastically well. But we are in a fight for fourth place. If you want to be in a fight for a title, then you're going to have to upgrade Matic. Doesn't matter how well he's playing at the moment. I can already see in the games that we're playing, if we want to go up a level, and we can go up a level, with the players that we've got like Pogba, Martial, Rashford, Shaw, Bailly, Lindelof, Lingard, De Gea, we're only 2 or 3 positions, I think, away from being a very good team. And Matic is going to be a position we are going to have to upgrade. Whether we do or not, the club might be like, well, we're not going to spend money there because we've got Matic. Matic is 31 in August. He's not the player he was at Chelsea. There is already a decline in fatigue and age from what he was at Chelsea to what he is now. However, he is playing as well as he's ever done in a United shirt, but he's still nowhere near the levels he was at Chelsea, and he never hit that again. He's on the decline. That decline I don't think is a steep decline like you got with Rooney or you're getting with Mata this year, but it is a decline. Also, if you want to fight for a title, you've got to have somebody who is quick across the ground and quick on the ball. Matic can play very, very good forward passes, but he has to take his time to do it most of the time. Matic is a very good reader of the ball and he can tackle, but he ain't got pace. So Matic at the moment is doing a fantastic job here. He's patrolling. He picks the ball up sometimes, he carries it and he gets it forward. Something he didn't, under Mourinho it was side to side with the ball and patrolling, but he actually is playing some decent balls. But it's sentimentality over, do you want Manchester United to be the best in the world? And it's very similar with Juan Mata. We all love Juan Mata, but it's sentiment over actual facts. Mata is a declining force, and we've seen it game in, game out this season. Matic is a gradual declining force, and if you're happy with fourth place, we'll probably get fourth next year if we keep Matic. If you want to win a title, it's very, very important that you've got a CDM who's doing this more. Not side to side, more of a curl. More of a curl because they're getting more. Side to side, it's less space to cover. The curl is longer. If you stretch that curl out, it's going to go like that. It's longer. And that's what you need. You need a CDM who isn't just side to side, he's curling round. So he's supporting the left, he's getting across, he's supporting the right, and it becomes a curl. Matic can't do that. He hasn't got the legs to do that. He can only go side to side. If you want to win a title, you need somebody who can do the curl CDM role, who is more advancive in how they move and is covering more distance and is quicker at doing it. So that's all I would say about Matic. I think he had a good game yesterday, but I think some people are getting carried away saying it's not a position we need to improve on. McTominay ain't got it yet to replace Matic, says Pradney Wadke. I haven't seen McTominay. I think McTominay is probably like that. I don't see that. I mean, Fosu Mensah was the one. Fosu Mensah was the one with the tenacity and speed across the ground, but he's just not gone to that next level, and he's been at Fulham and Crystal Palace, and I think that is obviously a concern. Fred, maybe at CDM mark. I don't know whether he's got the physicality. It's very interesting with Fred at the moment that we retained Pogba, Herrera and Matic for 90 minutes yesterday. We didn't look to give them a breather. Is that because we don't trust the players that we've got on the bench? I mean, Fred could be a long way away from it as far as I'm concerned. Ndombele is obviously the right person, Mick. Ndidi yesterday, I mean, we've not spoken about Ndidi, and I thought Ndidi had a good game. I actually think that, you sometimes win a game and you dismiss Leicester. I mean, if you were looking at Leicester, would you sign any of their players? There was 3 for me. Ben Chilwell's very good. I wouldn't sign him because I prefer Luke Shaw, but I thought he was very, very good. I thought Harry Maguire was very good. I've always liked Harry Maguire, and I thought Ndidi was good. I mean, the way the game went yesterday, if you didn't know the score, you would have predicted a Leicester win or a draw. If you just saw all the stats, you would have said, that's a Leicester win or a draw. Obviously, we won it, and we deserved to win it because Leicester didn't do enough with what they had. But the better team was Leicester. And Ndidi was very good. I would take Ndidi. And what I liked about Ndidi is that he's actually a little bit taller and a little bit more physical than I thought he was. Whereas Mendy next to him, I thought he was a bit of a mess. But Ndidi, I really liked him. So he's an option as well. We definitely need to improve in that situation. Please do drop a like on the video if you like this on a Monday, because it's very easy just to do a little bit of tactical stuff. And I quite like it. And I think we get the conversation going. I mean, Curb Hill says that Ndidi is a BTEC Kante. I think that's a little bit dismissive, but each to their own. But the other thing I wanted to talk about was Lukaku. I think the game yesterday was a very good game for Manchester United to win because, as we said in the preview, Leicester were very energetic. They were very forward thinking, and they never stopped. They were pressing us in the 80th minute. I didn't feel sorry for Leicester, but I can see why they got a result against Liverpool. They're a good team, and they're in a false position, and that's because they lose games that they should be winning against the teams below them. But when they come up against the better teams, they're motivated more, and they're physically and very quick across the ground, and they're very energetic. And that's why it was a good game for us yesterday, because from minute 1 to minute 90, Leicester kept going and going and going. So we would have known we'd had a good game yesterday. I was amazed, actually. One of the fan cams yesterday said that Lukaku played really well when he came on because he had a shot on goal. I thought Lukaku was a disgrace. I really did. And I don't like saying it because I'm quite happy for Lukaku to come on for the last 20 minutes of a game, give Rashford a breather and cause the opposition problems. There was one point where a pass was played into him. He's there and Johnny Evans is here. And Johnny Evans gets to the ball before him. And I'm like, Johnny Evans has been on the pitch 90 minutes. You've been on it 90 seconds and you already look knackered. He looked knackered. He really did. And I don't know whether he's put more weight on again. I don't know whether he's just not motivated. But I thought Lukaku's efforts against Spurs when we were hanging on a few weeks ago at Wembley was crap. And I thought yesterday's game was crap as well. His effort is appalling. All right, we know you've got a bad first touch. We know you can't read a game of football, but you can put yourself about a bit. You can sprint. You can be aggressive. You can be energetic. And I just didn't see it. And I don't know whether it's sulking because he's lost his place, demotivated because his dad, Mourinho's gone. But when you come on for Manchester United in the last few minutes of a game and we're trying to see it out and you want your place back, you come on and you run through brick walls. That's what you do. And I've got to that point now where I'm actually thinking, look, it might be a big step up for Mason Greenwood, but bloody hell, if you give him 10 minutes, he's going to absolutely run through brick walls. And that's what you need from your bench. And I don't think we're getting that from Lukaku. And I think he needs to move on. I think, he's not going to be happy to sit on the bench for United. Somebody's got to sit on the bench. Bloody hell, Rashford and Martial have sat on the bench enough over the last 18 months. It's your time, Rom. sit on the bloody bench. There might be an injury. There might be an opportunity to come in. You've got to show us more than that. I think your effort levels are a disgrace, to be honest with you, and you should be doing far more. Bring Fosu Mensah and play him in the reserves a bit, says Pradney Awadki. Well, he needs to be playing first team football. And Philip Burtonwood says the bench isn't good enough. The main stars get injured. No one decent to replace them. I think, Philip, you always read my mind there. Look, we're in 5th place at the moment. We've got Fulham on Saturday, and then Chelsea play Man City on Sunday. We beat Fulham, which we should do because they're rubbish. Man City beat Chelsea because they're at home. We are 4th. Doesn't matter what Arsenal do. We are 4th. So we're in 4th place. We've grabbed hold of that holy grail in many ways, which many of us thought was impossible back in December. However, do I feel more confident that we're going to get top 4? I'm just taking every game as it comes in the Premier League. I really am. I'm taking every game as it comes because I think Philip's hit the nail on the head, and we've spoken about this a few times over the last week or so. Ollie is learning about the players with every game and every day that he's at Manchester United. But I think what we know as fans is something that we've known for a few years now, is that you cannot trust the wider squad of Manchester United. It's a very good squad. I mean, Arsenal probably look at our squad and they're jealous. You know, you've got all these people like Darmian and Phil Jones and Juan Mata and Andreas Pereira and Alexis Sanchez and Romelu Lukaku and Antonio Valencia. You've got all these players that aren't first team players for United, and you're like, you know, almost like you're spoilt for those riches. But what we know as United fans is they might be internationals, they might be very good names on paper, but you cannot trust them when the going gets tough. They'll let you down. And that is the thing. Yesterday I was taking deep, sharp intakes of breath when Pogba went down holding his ankle, when Rashford went down holding his ankle. Because if we lose one of those players for a month, I would go as far as to say our chances of top 4 are going to disintegrate very quickly. You lose Pogba, we're in trouble. You lose Rashford or Martial, I think we're in trouble. We are so reliant on people like that, like Lindelof, like De Gea, like Bailly, even Luke Shaw to a certain extent, because who are you going to play at left back? So we don't have the squad depth, because unfortunately the players that are meant to be the squad depth, you know, your Lukaku's, your Juan Matas, your Valencias, your Darmians, they don't step up to the plate. So we need to get lucky with injuries, and we've got a lot of games to come. So that is something to just bear in mind. Lindelof, the best defender of all time, says Gustav Mellin. I wouldn't go that far. He's having a very, very good season, though, for us. And I thought Eric Bailly was fantastic yesterday. A lot of people gave De Gea man of the match, but for me, as I said on the match reaction, the man of the match for me would have been Lindelof, Bailly, and I thought Luke Shaw had a good game, despite having to play with Sanchez in front of him. I thought that cross in the first few minutes is probably the cross of the season. It was absolutely immense, and those people who say he can't cross, well, he's just shown that he can. Far too many players given freedom of movement, says Pradney. I think we were a little bit free yesterday, and it caused a lot of confusion for us. Jamie O'Hare, he may try hard to win that ball back, but there is a difference between trying hard and performing well. He's an attacker. Show some enthusiasm, Alexi. He does work hard, and I suppose we probably do get a little bit blinded by that. I just love to see him on the right-hand side. I think it's right-hand side or get out of Manchester for Sanchez, because he's never going to work on the left-hand side. Get rid of Alexi in the summer and get Memphis back. Our left flank will have a good competition edge then. Then we should get an out-and-out right winger, and we've sorted for the attack. Thanks for the contribution, Semyon Hayward and Ibrahim Mahmoud. Pack him and ship him off to China, says Pradney. Shivam, I'd sell Sanchez in the summer. Clearly he flexes our players on the pitch also. Salomon, get a centre-back and a right-back. Even Mourinho managed to batter Fulham, says Oliver Hay. They are doing very, very poorly at the moment. If I was Ollie, I would make an example of Lukaku and replace him with Greenwood, someone who has the hunger to play for this club, says Robert Moore. I don't disagree with you. Maybe that's the answer. Maybe remove Lukaku from the matchday squad altogether, because if he's just going to sit on the bench and sulk, yeah, remove him altogether. And Ed Woodward says, who needs good football when we have world-class sponsors? Oh no, I read that one yesterday. Sorry, I read that one yesterday. Anyway, please do drop a like on the video, anyway, everybody. I quite like discussing this sort of thing the day after a game, so I think we'll keep it as a regular sort of show if people like it. I certainly think you can delve into things and be a bit passionate about it as fans and as a community. Remember tonight at 8 o'clock, it's the call-in. So it's going to be your show. Really look forward to that. It's my favourite show of the week. So make sure you do join us at 8 o'clock live for that. But please do drop a like on the video if you like this sort of a show. More than happy to do it. When do you think Ollie decides to bring in a youth player to get a chance off the bench, says Mr. Johnson? I don't know. There'll be all eyes on Ollie with that. Personally, against Fulham, I wouldn't have Lukaku on the bench. I would have Greenwood. Why not? Fulham are not a very good team. Yeah, we're going to have to work hard, but Greenwood, over Lukaku, I'd have Greenwood on the bench on Saturday. I would. I don't know whether Ollie will do it. He does tend to do the things that we think we would do, so let's hope. I certainly would do that. I would, yeah, definitely. I'm also doing my Football Manager career mode. I must just shout this out. I'm doing my Football Manager career mode as Salford City. I'm on episode 3. I'm going to be doing that in about 10 minutes, well, probably about 5 minutes time. I've dropped the link in the video description for those people who want to join me. It's on Mark Goldbridge, That's Football. Episode 3, I'll be live. Football Manager 2019, Salford City. We're doing well. We're top of the league. We're through to the second round of the FA Cup, and I'll be doing a bit of that as well if you want to join in on that series. If not, I'll see you at 8 o'clock tonight for the call-in, but links in the video description for Football Manager. I'll see you there in a few minutes if you're going to join me. Thanks everyone for watching. I really enjoyed that show. I really enjoyed the interaction, and I liked talking about the tactical side of things because I think it's very easy to have the headlines. Oh, Matic was fantastic, Matic was shit. Let's delve in between. Oh, Sanchez is shit. Actually, everyone else around him wasn't that good. Why was that? Let's have a look at it. Let's have a see. Why was Lingard so bad? And then Lingard, look, did Sanchez actually affect Lingard's game? I think he did. I think Sanchez was trying to interchange with him too much and pulling Lingard over to the left when Lingard never comes to the left. So that was another point that we didn't cover as well. Thanks, everyone. Speak to you all soon.